Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here is going to be a review and demonstration on the Scangrip Match Kit. So the match kit includes the match pen, which is just sitting there on the side. It's actually fallen out of its spot there, as you can probably see. Also got the Sun Match, which is this sort of mid-size handheld color matching light, and it's probably going to be the most popular and the one that most people will have out of the Scangrip range. And we've also got the multi-match, which is that larger light you can see down there on the right. And there's actually also a tripod stand that we'll be setting up for that later on. But this is the match pen, and it comes with a couple of AA batteries inside it. They are obviously brand new batteries, and as far as the other two lights go, they've got rechargeable batteries on the inside, and we've got a couple of charging docks for them too. Now they do come with a small amount of battery charge in them, but I'm pretty sure that that's just for some quality control measures, because I think they do a little bit of testing on each product before it gets sent out to you. So you will need to give them a good charge up probably before you get much use out of them anyway. This is a match pen here, and you can see you've got a variable beam on it. You can make it wide and narrow. That's just by pulling the front section inwards or outwards. And as you can see here, we've got two AA or AAA batteries, sorry, the small ones. So not sure how they're going to do over time. They may or may not last too long, but they are all LED lights, so they're going to have some pretty good battery life. I know that the Standolux IQ light, which I have done a video on previously, has actually got amazing battery life, and I think it was over 2 months before I even needed to give it a charge. I would imagine I'd have some pretty similar battery lives out of these Scangrip lights because they are the LED lights, but I really can't verify that 100% because I've only had them for probably about 3 or 4 weeks now, not even 4 weeks. So maybe check out in the comments down below depending on when you're watching this video, and I'll let you guys know. I might be able to pin a comment down there, let you guys know how the batteries fare over time. Now this is the tripod, which is pretty handy to have. Sometimes when you're doing color matching, you might want to do some stick matching, or you might just need both of your hands. A lot of the time when I'm color matching, I'll just have the color matching card in one hand, some wax and grease remover in the other, and that doesn't really leave a great deal of room for your color matching light. So yeah, it's just easier to have that tripod. One feature I'm not overly excited about is you can see here that these legs on that tripod, they just naturally want to fall down. They don't actually sort of lock into the open position, as you can see there. So it sort of relies on its own weight to keep those legs open. And then when you go to move it around, like you got airlines on the ground, or you've got some extension leads sitting on the ground, you then go to lift it up and the legs will go and flop down, and then when you try and put it back on the floor, you got to kick them all out, and it's very awkward, especially if you've got something else in your other hand. So I might be able to find sort of some way of locking them into position. I guess they probably do it so that it's easy to sort of pack away and store in wherever you want to store it, but I think some sort of a locking pin easy mechanism would make it a bit more usable. You can see there as I lift it up, those legs just want to fall straight down. So there's a little bit of feedback for Scangrip. Apart from that, I can't really fault the tripod itself. It's a pretty basic design, but it seems like it's fairly well made. After 2 or 3 minutes of me and my workmate sort of scratching our heads on how you mount this thing to the top of the tripod, I refer to the instructions. When all else fails, read the instructions. But after having a look at the diagram, it was pretty obvious how it went together, and you just get that mounting bracket and you slide that plate into the back of the multi-match light. It's actually quite a tight fit there, but I guess that it's meant to be like that so that it's not going to go and fall out on you when you're doing moving it around the workshop or anything like that. As you can see here, you've got to use quite a bit of force to get that plate onto the back of that light. But got it there in the end, that's the main thing. And then we'll just screw it onto the top of the tripod and off we go, right to start color matching. So I thought I'd quickly touch on price, and obviously that is going to vary depending where you do get them from. But I can tell you now that you can get this entire kit, so the 3 lights and the color matching stand, for around the same price as one 3M sun gun, with heavy batteries in them and a standard globe and a fan that blows dust all over whatever you're looking at. So especially when you're in the spray booth. The other guy who you can just see in the background there, he's got a sun gun. He spent around $750 on his sun gun. A guy who's married with a couple of kids can do with every single dollar, you know. He would have probably been better off waiting for even just one of those sun match lights, and you'll get one of them for around £99. It's about $150, $200. Again, it's going to depend where you get them from, but yeah, he could have got this entire color matching kit for the same price as his sun gun. Unfortunately, they weren't available on the market around 3 years ago. I still remember when he bought his sun gun, and I bought a sun gun as well. I paid around $850 for my sun gun. I did end up selling it, and I'm glad I did. Had a couple of people actually say on Instagram that they believe that the sun match light, which is this small one here, or the mid-sized one here, they believe that it is actually a dim light and it's not up to standards with the sun gun, but I personally disagree. You can see there that's quite a nice amount of light to do your color matching with, and I did a comparison even with the other two guys, the other two painters, because I was helping the other guy with a color match, and I decided, well, because he had his sun gun out, I said, hey, I'll grab my Scangrip sun match light and see the difference. And I said, what do you think is brighter, the sun gun or the Scangrip? Both of the other guys said that the Scangrip is brighter. And even if it isn't brighter, it's really not by much. It's not by $500, $600 brighter, put it that way. And that's only in comparison to the sun match, not the multi-match, which is the light that you can see we've got here on the tripod. The multi-match absolutely blows the brightness of the sun gun away. And as I said before, you will be able to get the entire kit, including the multi-match, for less or around the same price as the sun gun. So to me, it's a bit of a no-brainer that Scangrip are winning as far as the color matching lights go at the moment. Yes, 3M had their time at the top, and they had quite some time at the top for quite some time. The only real alternative that you had to an extremely expensive 3M sun gun was sort of making up your own light. Some people were getting cordless drills and then putting some lights on the back of them, or on the front of them, sorry, and then going around selling them for $300 or $400. Personally, I'm not going to spend that much money on something that someone's just whipped up in their garage, and I don't really have the drive to go out and start mucking around with electrical components, spending all this time and money on something that may not even last or even work that well. So yeah, personally, I've always liked to buy branded things that I can sort of trust. Here's a little look at that match pen. Personally, I don't really think I'll use it that often, but if you're in the situation where every dollar really does count and you just want all the tools in the trade, you want to be able to go to a new job and say, hey, look, I've still got my color matching gear, I can still get the job done without having to rely on other people's tools or equipment. It is an option, but personally I would recommend the sun match at a minimum, and that was £99, so that'll roughly equate to around 150 or even less if that's US dollars. So this is a bit of a look at the different lights, and you can see in the center there, obviously, that is the multi-match, and on the left I've got my boy Moses, and he's got the sun gun there, so you can even see that the Standolux IQ is brighter than the sun gun, but it's got a very blue sort of a tinge to it. We've obviously then got the orange light on the Standolux IQ, which none of the other lights do have. I must admit that it's something that's very rarely used. I've never looked at a color and been like, I needed that orange light on it, and I've had that thing for, probably about 2 or 3 months now. Another very handy use of having the tripod on the multi-match light is that you can use it for polishing. So I was polishing this quarter panel up, and it was a bit of a sort of a overcast day. We didn't have much light saturating into the workshop, and the big lights up on the roof weren't really quite doing it, and I couldn't really say 100% if there was any cutback marks on that quarter panel. I set that light up, and then I was actually able to see quite well. As it turns out, as I mentioned before, they do only put a certain amount of power into those batteries. The batteries died, so I had to give it a charge. But you may have noticed at the start, because I'm in Australia, we actually have slightly different sockets than they do in the rest of the world. I got this light from the UK. I do a fair bit of traveling myself, so I already had a travel adapter which actually ended up fitting the UK power socket. I was then able to plug that straight in. I didn't have any issues at all charging. I would imagine the same thing would apply worldwide. All you would need is the correct power point adapter, and you'd be right to charge it just about anywhere. I do know that some countries have varying voltage rates, but I've been around a fair bit and never really had any issues, even in Thailand when they do have different voltages, and this and many other products that I have bought from overseas. All I need is the adapter and they're pretty right to charge. Never had anything blow up on me, but that is something to keep in mind. If you do want to get something from overseas, just keep in mind that you may need a power adapter. As you can see here, this is the car out the front after the color matching. You may have noticed that the color wasn't perfect and it did need a little bit of color matching, but you can see when it's out in the sun, in the natural light, the color's perfect. And this is another thing I just thought I'd include a little bit of footage of. It didn't really warrant its own video. I've never actually used it, but I thought I'd give you guys a look at it anyway. It's called the tape thing. Yeah, basically the idea is to stop rolls of tape sitting around on the ground in the workshop and collecting dust and gathering dust. Personally, I'll put the rolls of tape on my wrist, and if I ever see the apprentices throwing rolls of tape on the ground, I give them a swift kick up the backside and tell them to stop doing it. But there may be people around that would really benefit out of having this tape thing. I'll leave it at that for this video, Gunners. Hope you have enjoyed watching it, and by no means am I trying to push any products down your throat. I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't give a shit what you buy or where you buy them from, but I will be there to help you guys if I do get any questions and push you in the right direction from my opinion. Now you've seen this video, get out there and paint some shit. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.
Beautiful, mate. Looks good, eh? Maybe a little bit dry, hungry through there. Can you see that?
Yeah.